Have you ever seen two girls eager and excited to talk about death?
Are you dead?
Or are you alive? I think death and life, it's duality. That's like the truest, purest form of duality.
We aren't living like it's our last damn day. Might not be here tomorrow.
Yeah.
We don't know.
We cannot foresee
what the future holds. Yeah. So we can either choose to be alive and be awake, or we can choose to conform, put ourselves in the mold or in the box and be dead.
Yeah. I think it's easy to get caught up and forget that there is not a forever. Everything has an ending. Everything has death. Life moves through everything, but so does death.
Yeah.
So there's like an opposite of chi, prana energy, the life force energy that moves through us, but death moves through us too. And we don't talk about that enough.
Because we ignore it. We ignore it. We get scared of it. Yes.
You're so scared of dying that you're like afraid of living. Live through death.
Yes.
Go through the void.
Death is beautiful. It's transformational.
Death is transformation.
Death is change. Death means change.
Does
Maybe.
it?
Yes. Yes.
Is that what Google says?
In my Google,
change?
Kate's Google. Death equals
Kate's
change.
Google.
Yeah, death. Okay, here's the thing.
What?
Here's the thing. Okay.
Ready?
Death is a symbol that we have created for change, and I think that we have attach this negative feeling to that symbol, right? And it's like, ooh, that's scary. So much fear. I don't know. It's the I don't know. It's the void. Death is mystery. The void, the mystery, the question mark. And we get scared of it when really it is what is the catalyst for transformation in our lives.
I just want to give that. I'm going to give that some space.
Some void. A void.
Yeah, let's give it some void. That was beautiful, Kate.
Thank you. That C4 has me preaching.
Volume levels have never been so high.
Really? Are you
Yay.
okay?
No, it's fine.
Oh, hold on. I'm going to pause.
Vic is over there like, through our energy. My mom, love her to death. I love you, Barbara. You are the light of my world. You are the queen of my land. Fabulous. But you are a worrier.
Warrior or worrier?
Both. But she worries. We all worry. I think as a mom, I don't have kids, so I don't know yet. I'm going to worry all the time. And we're worried because we can't control. And I think that has to do, like, the same feeling of worry comes in our own lives when we think about death.
Yeah.
Worry.
But true death is surrenderance. And worry is the opposite of surrender. It's control. Trying to harness, trying to take things by the reins. But it's a bull. Life is a bull that you cannot control. Or else it'll fucking take you away and throw you on the dirt.
It'll do more than throw you. It'll trample you. It'll confuse you. It'll disable you. It'll disarm you. It'll rip you. It'll hurt you.
And that's what control
does.
The
other symbol that we attach to worry is anxiety. Anxiety is trying to control the future. This control and trying to grasp and understand death can cause a lot more harm than good. And I think that's where the negative emotion and feeling comes from.
I think the issue is that we see death as like the final destination or like an ending point. But just as life is a continuous experience, I would say that death and rebirth is part of that the process of living as well.
Yeah.
As the aliveness and the energy, like when we have a ending point to our day, we go to bed, we like go off into
Dreamland.
the little abyss, and then we wake up and we're rebirthed into like there's so many signs of death in our lives that we sleep through and we ignore. We don't appreciate it. I think that we must swim in the darkness to like also experience life.
Yeah. I'm reading a lot about this right now. How we as humans perceive our dream world differently from our real world, when in reality we're dreaming.
We're dreaming
all
right now.
the time. We are creating.
We're living dreams
all the time.
Every time I walk like in the city and I look around at the buildings and stuff, I know that I'm living someone else's dream because everything begins with the imagination, with a thought, with an idea. Then you dream and you bring it to life, but it came from maybe a state of like the void, right? Because the void is like, it's like the womb of creation too, and transformation.
Yeah.
And there's so many different voids that we can go through to like birth things to life, right?
Speaking on this,
bring it out.
Yeah, this book's amazing. It's called Spiritual Growth, Being Your Higher Self. The void occurs when you are letting go of an aspect of your personality self that no longer fits who you are becoming. It represents a new level of surrendering your personality to the guidance of your higher self. It is the birth of a new part of your higher self into this reality. The void is a state of transition and change.
Do not avoid the void.
This knowing that the void is a state, and when we say void, think death.
And then rebirth.
Yes.
You know, the going through and like coming back out, you get spat back out into life as a new person.
New change. Void equals change. If you're going through a challenging time, understanding that the challenge is what is going to catapult you into a better version of yourself, wouldn't you embrace that challenge and take it on more? Fuck yeah, I would. If I saw every challenge as this is an opportunity for immense growth, bring it the fuck on.
And that leads you to embrace detachment, because our personalities, if we attach ourselves to anything and everything that brings us purpose throughout all of our lives, it's like carrying baggage around with you, and it gets heavier and heavier and heavier, and then it's harder to move through life. So you have to let things go. You have to detach.
Yeah.
You have to die to yourself at some point.
Do y'all have any real life experience of y'all passing through the void and coming out on the other side better?
I mean, for me, it was pivoting in my career. After graduating college, it was during COVID, so I had no idea what I was doing. I graduated earlier too, so I didn't have anything lined up. And it was a big void. I mean, the world wasn't functioning the way that it originally was, and everyone kind of stepped into the void together. But like after graduating, and you kind of have to figure yourself out after that, it was an immense magnified void. I created, you know, this idea of a dream job at a tech company, and applied, did my own thing for a little bit to float by. I'm a very persistent person, so when I have something in my head, like, I will not stop until I get to that point. So I got rejected from this company 4 times, and then they accepted me the 5th time. Started working there, thinking I was going to step into the light, thinking I was going to find purpose.
Yeah.
Nothing of that sort. It was full of anxiety. It was full of fear. All of like my past shadows from, you know, high school, middle school, like came flooding back, and I started experiencing like physically all the same responses that were fear-based and that were rooted in like this lack of purpose, where I placed a pedestal. And once your whole life has been paved for you, you know, as you go through school and you go through the courses, and like the textbooks are placed in front of your face and the classes are all set, like, and then you step into the real world and you step into a dream that wasn't really yours. I had to die to that.
That you didn't create.
I grieved so much because I thought that I was supposed to be something that I was not. So I had to die to that concept and I mean, eventually I quit and I followed my own path, and I came out of that as a transformed person, ready to follow my heart. And I wrote my own book on the whole process of like going through that grieving of self experience. I mean, I created my own reality. I created the dream. I didn't step into someone else's dream.
Heaven.
Yeah, heaven. You know, you can create your own heaven on earth, or you can live in someone else's hell.
Think of any challenges that you faced when you were in the void after you
Oh my God.
quit?
So much emotional, like emotions can be such a challenge. And I'm a very emotionally based person. So I had to deal with the self-doubt. I had to deal with the anxiety flooding back in. I had to deal with trying to find the confidence to step into the void. It takes a lot of certainty. When you have to walk in the dark, you have to hold certainty in yourself. Faith. You have to hold faith that you can walk the walk and talk the talk. And like, that is so hard for people. But once you start bringing in little inklings of hope and light, and you start to take one step after the other, like the path is, you pave the path, you pave the way. And there's so much agency that you find through that. There's so much empowerment that you find through that evidence of you being able to take things one step at a time.
Yeah.
There's so much growth there. So much growth.
It all starts with believing in yourself.
Believe in you.
It sounds so cliche. Believe in yourself. You see it all over.
You have to believe in
Disney,
yourself,
all
or else
this
no
stuff.
one else will.
I'm going through it right now. I'm going through it right now. I built a business from the ground up pretty much, and had to step aside because it was someone else's dream. It wasn't my original creation. And that caused a lot of pain because it wasn't my original creation. And now if someone were to look at my life through the lens of modern society, they would be like, what the hell are you doing right now? I am starting this podcast. I am trusting in myself. I am embracing the fact that I know that I can do it through my past experiences. And we're going to fucking try this damn thing. And I'm going to create my reality. And that's what I'm doing right now.
That is the essence of being an artist.
Yes.
Like, you think of artists and how they have to live in faith, because they don't know what their next creation is, or if it's going to come, the inspiration, the action, or if they're going to finish the painting in time. You are being the artist of your own life, and you are painting on the canvas of your own life. And there's a beauty in that improvisation. Like,
yeah,
it's beautiful.
Yeah. There comes a point in your life where you've been through so much. You come out knowing, whoa, I've been through all of this, and I'm okay. Okay. I'm alive. I'm breathing. I'm healthy. I'm happy. I know how to self-regulate. I know the stuff that I like, what makes me happy, what doesn't make me happy. So if I go all in on something that maybe others don't understand or won't accept, but I do, and I believe in it,
you start leaning on yourself. Isn't it ironic that the path to true living and true fulfillment is in this death, in this void? Death to self, death to selfishness, death to judgment or shame about who you are or what you're doing. There's no ceiling for you when you die. Death is a promotion. And you just have to decide, you know, I'm not going to be offended by what this person has to say, or I'm not going to be
swayed,
afraid by this little speck of doubt. You can decide how much weight things have in your life. And when you let go and you shed that weight, you break through. Break through the ceiling. Break through the womb. Come out different.
Rebirth.
Renewed. Rebirthed.
It's like now you're alive.
Right.
Now
This
you're
is what
like
alive
actually living.
is. Yeah.
Yes.
Now you are
I
scary.
feel alive right now
It's
for the
scary.
first time ever. I've never
beautiful.
felt this way.
Cause you gotta get in the turbulence. You gotta be shaken up to your core.
That way you know.
Because it's like some life is shaking you back awake.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Or else you're gonna be there and you're gonna be zombie.
Yeah. Yep.
Don't be zombie if
Don't
it's not
be the
meant for
living
you.
Dead.
Don't be the
join
living dead.
No.
Let's say it together. Don't be the living dead. Humans spend 70% of their waking hours on autopilot. This is based on a Harvard study.
Whoa.
So we're in autopilot mode. We're living with
Carelessly.
our eyes closed because we know that we have to turn left at 9 a.m. and we turn right and grab the coffee or the pre-workout, and then we turn left. We step out the door and then we turn right. And it's a pattern.
Yeah.
Patterns are beautiful. They ground us. They allow us to have that sense of control. But
It can be redundant.
redundancy creates complacency. We must live as the creative beings that we are.
Yeah.
And the way that we go about with the habits and the cycles and the patterns and the redundancy, it sucks the creation out of us.
It would be such a shame to be born into this miracle, into this life. And the one thing that was intended for us as human beings to do was to create. And we don't do that one thing with our lifetime. And when you start creating, your life and your lens changes.
Expands.
Holy shit. Like, everything becomes beautiful.
Because you're more self-aware.
Everything
it allows
becomes
you
beautiful.
to become more self-aware.
Yeah. And living in that state of gratitude, that is living. That is life.
Abundance.
Once you live in a state of gratitude, I swear on everything, your life will change. Your life will change, and abundance will come to you in ways that you don't even understand. You are not meant to understand it, but it will.
Because the smallest things will fulfill you. Once you reach the void and the depths, and you're able to appreciate and bring more gratitude into the minuscule moments.
When you practice detachment from the external, detachment from your personality, from who you think you are, whoever you're building on Instagram, whoever that the reason why Instagram and social media is so interesting is because we can build a whole other personality and persona.
I actually talk about this in my new book, The Book of Shadow Work, which comes out on January 14th.
Yay!
There's a whole chapter, and it was my favorite chapter to write, on the shadow in technology. And one of the sections in there explores this concept of social media and how it can be a scope to see kind of like where people's values are based and what they understand of their own concept, what they project out onto the world, and what they're attached to in terms of identity.
Oh my God.
And there's so many different like pillars of who we are allowed to step into online.
I've had such an interesting relationship with social media. I have changed my persona so many times on social media that people who have been following me for a long time are probably like, oh, what is she doing now? Who is she now?
Everyone does that.
But yes,
Everyone does
and I am super comfortable in reinvention and reinventing myself. We were put on this earth privileged to create and to reinvent.
To me, it's remembrance, not reinvention. Because I think that when something draws your attention or when something inspires you, that's you remembering parts of who you
really
are.
Yeah.
That you've lost from like a child, like when you were a child, maybe you enjoyed classical music, and 25 years later you're sitting at a restaurant and you hear a piano song playing, and your heart is moved, and you start the idea, maybe I want to learn piano. That's exciting. That's not reinventing, it's remembrance.
But it's reinventing your routines and your actions and your everyday to get closer to your remembrance, to like feel that remembrance more, right? You have to do things in your life that are different to get you into that state of yourself. So they're very much aligned and layered right on top of each other. I mean,
it's kind of like reinvention is like rebirthing. Remembering is like
coming home.
Yeah. We go out into this world looking and searching and looking and searching. And we're on this forever journey. But coming back to home, coming back to you, searching and grasping, being on this forever journey for what you're looking for, that fulfillment, versus coming back home and being at peace with who you are, being at gratitude with what is.
If you don't believe that you are a powerful being, listen to this story. I take this same yoga class twice a week, every week. It's like the same instructor. I love her. Shout out to Elise. I love you so much. You're an amazing human, and thank you for kicking my ass consistently. But she's also a very spiritual human as well. And after we flow, there's obviously Shavasana, which is like the death pose. You are just laying there, and they say it's actually the hardest pose in yoga because you're not supposed to be doing anything. You're supposed to be dead, right? And a lot of people can't, including me, could not sit still and be with themselves. So this Shavasana has been a really beautiful practice for me. And is what kind of ignited my spiritual journey. I realized how much was within myself through this pose. So usually when I go into Shavasana, I meditate, I sit with either my thoughts, I welcome them, or don't have any thoughts at all. It's very much an internal experience. This one class, I decided to let energy out and give to the people around me and give to the outside world rather than being within. I gave love to everybody around me. I just shot out love, and I saw it as this white light coming from my core. Sometimes yoga instructors will come over and they'll adjust you. Elise is not like that. She just guides you through her voice. Yeah. As I'm shooting out love, again, I've gone to this class hundreds of times. She came over to me. My eyes were closed, and she pressed my body into the mat, and she embraced me with love. I was like, what the hell? She's never done this. As soon as I'm sending light out, and this is now my intention, I received it right back.
When you give out,
you receive. The universe gives. And that's when I realized how powerful I was as a human and how infinite our love is. I mean, I literally sent love to everything on this planet, and I'm no like superhero. I'm no different than you or whatever. But we are infinite vessels of love and light. And when we learn our power, life is just gonna make so much more sense.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful. I remember when that day, I think we spoke that day, and you journaled about this experience, and it was very profound, a profound like awakening to self, for you.
Power.
And I think that great gift that each and every one of us naturally has is the ability to love, to give love, to receive love. Love is beyond something we can comprehend, but we are created from it. Tell me about that one really interesting fact.
There was this study conducted where the weight of a human being was weighed right before they passed and immediately after they passed. And they replicated this study, I think 6 different times, 6 case studies. The weight after the human passed was 21 grams lighter. The soul leaves the body. We can actually weigh the soul, which is insane.
Wow. It doesn't sound inspirational. Death doesn't sound inspirational. It's natural, and nature is pure inspiration. All the leaves dying and getting crumbled and dust, and there's just this whole side of life that we're too afraid, too ashamed, too proud to look at.
Without death, there would be no evolution. You watch Twilight, right? Like, the vampires never die, and they're miserable. They're miserable. They're thousands of years old, and they're
knowing that there's an end gives you more purpose to live. Because it's not forever. What are you going to make of it? What are you going to make of this life?
What are some ways that you can reconnect with your living self, with your truest self?
Play.
That's funny that you brought that word up. When I first came to your house, remember I was so enamored about your ability to play.
Yeah,
you were like literally rolling down your hill, and I was like, wow, she's playing, and it was so beautiful. I remember that so clearly. It's what I first
it always
loved
trips
about
people
you.
out. I like to test people just by
playing.
Rolling down a hill in front of them, being like, come join me.
Yeah.
If you don't join me,
it's gonna be weird.
It's gonna be weird. No one ever really joins me.
Well, grass is itchy, you know. My skin sometimes don't do well with that fertilizer.
Yeah, that's fact.
You said that like you knew.
Yeah, no, the itchiness is not the best part. Shavasana in the grass. If you're watching this, are you living your truth, or are you merely existing in someone else's story? If it doesn't inspire you enough in the now, go through the void. Follow your own path, create your own path, create a new story, a new narrative. It's time for you to awaken to the beauty of being truly alive.
You grab us some sunglasses. They're in the little teacups. It's like our funeral. Our past selves are dying. We're embodying our newest, truest self. Okay. Every time I look up, she's somewhere else. It's pretty impressive. This C4 is fucking trippy.
You know what's trippy? Death. Is life an illusion, or is death the illusion? Or are they both the truest things that exist and everything else is an illusion?